The owner of this Bonneville T120 uses it for long trips. He has already done 35,000 kilometers and satisfied with the bike, but there are two weak points. First is the wheels with tubes. It is impossible to repair a puncture of such a wheel on the road without a tool. Second is the soft suspensions, which easily bottom out. By the way, this is one of the reasons of bended rims on both wheels. Rear shock are already replaced, so we are going to install pressurized Bitubo 4 cartridges, which have efficient valve inside sealed and filled damper. OEM wheels will be replaced with tubeless Alpina wheels, which have strong, seamless alloy rim. Also, the rear tire and chain should be replaced, as they are worn out. The front tire is in excellent condition. New wheels and fork not only increase comfort, but also reduce unsprung weight and braking distance. I start with the rear wheel. On this model, it is necessary to remove mufflers and rear pegs because of side back mounts. Also, I have to remove rear master cylinder with peg bracket to get to the front sprocket. Because of outer loop system, all parts next to the chain are covered with dirt. Mixed with dust and sand, it accelerates chain wear. The only plus is that the chain does not rust. First, unscrew the front sprocket nut. If impact range does not work, I will have to block the rear wheel. I was lucky and unscrewed the nut on the second try. Now I can loosen the rear sprocket nuts and remove the chain. I screw in the adjusting bolts to easily fit a new chain. OEM brake rotor and ABS rotor will be used on Alpina wheel. OEM sprocket coupling remains also. Alpina wheel weighs 6.2 kg, which is 2.5 kg lighter than the OEM one. The tubelessness of Alpina wheels is achieved due to increased thickness of the rim in the middle and unique nipples with reliable double seals. By the way, a worn-out tire is 1 kg lighter than the new one. I remove lumps of dirt, but I don't see the point of full cleaning the entire space. With an outer loop, they will quickly accumulate again. The sprocket is installed by marks outside. Brake rotor bolts I tightened with thread lock to 22 Nm. ABS rotor bolts are tightened with thread lock also, to minimal hand force. To easily install the sprocket coupling, lubricate the rubber dampers. As the old bearing remains, I fill it with grease. The sprocket coupling is inserted all the way. The sprocket nuts are tightened to 55 Nm, alternately opposite each other. Lubricate bearing seals. Also lubricate wheel axle to prevent sticking. I install high-strength chain with anti-corrosion coating and low-friction seals. OEM length is 100 links with 17 and 37 sprockets. There is a rivet master link in the kit, but EK also produces a screw-type master link, which is installed without special tools. Watch detailed video about this at our channel. It is important to control the thickness of the link not to pinch it, otherwise the seals wear out quickly. I pull the chain to tighten the front sprocket nut. It is difficult to push the rear brake on this model, because the master cylinder is dismounted, but human effort is enough to block the rear wheel on the first gear and tighten the nut to 180 Nm. It is convenient to bend the lock washer with adjustable pliers. Assembly is carried out in reverse order. The chain slug is adjusted on the side stand, so I leave the rear wheel as it is and deal with the front wheel and the fork. Before removing the fork legs, loosen the fork caps when it fixed in the lower clamp only. Brake and ABS rotors will be used on the new wheels. Cartridge installation does not require full rebuild of the fork legs. First, remove the damper bolt while the fork leg is assembled, and spring pushes the damper to the bottom of the outer tube. After, drain oil, unscrew the cap and remove the damper. The second fork leg is disassembled in the same way. It contains the spring and the primitive damper rod. Bitubo cartridges are pressurized to prevent oil cavitation. They have a valve inside sealed damper, progressive springs, adjustments of compression, rebound and preload. Fork legs must be cleaned and blown out thoroughly, as the cleaner accumulates between the tubes. OEM top-out springs should be installed on the new cartridges. The kit includes spacers to shorten the fork and special wrench to adjust preload. Compression cartridge is installed inside the left fork leg, the rebound one inside the right fork leg. Apply thread lock to the damper bolts. Unscrew the cap to press the damper to the bottom of the tube. Tighten the damper bolt to 30 Nm. Next, fill each fork leg with 200 ml of fork oil. As the dampers are pressurized and sealed, the oil is filled by quantity. If damper is not sealed, the oil is filled by level, because it's unknown how much oil is left inside. The fork cap is tightened to 22 Nm. Front Alpina wheel is 1.2 kg lighter than OEM one. Installing the tire, the red dot should be aligned with heaviest point of the rim, which is usually a valve. In this way, one weight is enough for balancing. Before installing the brake rotors, clean the thread of the bolts. Brake rotor bolts are tightened to 22 Nm. All parts of the wheel have rotational mark, not to mix up the sides. Installing the fork, tighten the lower triple clamp first to 45 Nm, after the upper clamp to 24 Nm. Brake caliper bolts are tightened to 21 Nm, wheel axle to 65 Nm. To relieve stress from the right fork leg, pump the fork before tightening. Axle clamp bolt is tightened to 22 Nm. Chain slug should be about 30 mm between the centers of the sprockets, when the bike is on the side stand. Rear axle nut is tightened to 100 Nm. Needle of outer loop is guided to chain seals and rollers. Tubeless wheel can be repaired during a trip, without tools. Strong rims can take a hard impact, while cartridges provide stability and comfort at high speed and on bad roads. Subscribe if information was interesting.